Hello and welcome back. 2023. 15 seconds of introduction is what's required before YouTube checks to see if there is any fucking curse words. Welcome, everyone. Everything's rare and suddenly to the podcast. That's right, Gods and Prophets number 64, where today we're going to be covering what is going on, man. Everything is rare and suddenly now. Every single event has this very specific, scoped in tunnel vision explanation for the reason that it exists, and that is the only reason it exists, and they will have every single possible reason why it happens, like that Alexander Hamlin. Have you seen him get slapped down by the evil football wizard? Man, that was a sight to see.
Yeah.
Let's put it up on the screen here.
I've not seen it, but I am intrigued by it. So.
Shout out, first off, to his health. Hopefully he didn't get turned into a vegetable. They left him out there for 9 minutes unmolested, and I gotta tell you, those 9 minutes of him just laying there were key and critical times where they should have been rushing their ass off. You would think that they would have had better training. The military certainly does, so it's a mockery to see a paid organization that gets paid for their employees not even have the basic common sense to have somebody on the field. All right, cool. I am.
Yeah, welcome back, everyone, to 2023.
It's a
That's your host,
year.
Talon Truth. I'm Mark Santana.
And I'm Matt Karoshi, because that guy's not going to do it.
There you go. It's that devil's lettuce, man.
Look, man, he's slapped down.
Number
3 pops back up. He pushes. He looks all right. And then suddenly, and rare, suddenly, he takes the blow, rolls it to his left shoulder, flips the guy around so he didn't take the full brunt and flop over, and then he goes down.
There we go.
And he's good to be the next person who sits there for 9 minutes until somebody does something, which I still consider to be the most wild. 9 minutes before there was any sort of resuscitation technique. They said that CPR began immediately, but their version of CPR is somebody running up and lightly tapping him and going through the motion. First off, has anybody here ever dealt with an intense event, something that happens that you have to have a respond, which is why they train checklists?
I can think of 2. The most recent one was when there was the motorbike accident outside my flat, and I heard it and rushed outside. I was not the first one there. I am first aid trained, and there was already someone like kind of going through the motions with it. So I kind of took like a secondary position to that. And then there's been a couple of times, again, like either coming out of work or while I was in work, where various different things have happened. Someone choking, someone burned themselves with a fucking load of hot water, or someone deciding to sit down.
Happy New Year, Angelina.
In front of a train and having to speak to them and have a conversation with them. So,
did the train hit them?
No, basically, I mean, in all honesty, there wasn't going to be another train for like 5-10 minutes, but they just kind of, no one saw them walk out. And then because it was like a road that alter intersections on the train, but it's kind of like in a kind of like a town type area. So there's lots of houses and walls and stuff like that. And so he just kind of walked down the road as you would walk down the road. And then as soon as he got to the train track, he just turned right and started walking down the train track and then sat down. And no one saw him apart from me. So I went over and went, "Hey, listen, can I have a conversation with you?" And he's like, "Nope, not interested." And in the end, I had to kind of get hold of him and then pull him to one side. And then I kind of like took him away from the train track and then was basically holding on to him, kind of like from behind, sounds all kinds of weird, but from behind and like kind of bracing him, just going, yeah, we're just going to have a conversation. I was like, you can let go of me and have a conversation. I'm like, I'm not really comfortable letting go of you. And then
I don't like talking when I have you from behind.
What are you doing? I'm like, yeah,
this is called an intervention.
Yeah. Can you go call an ambulance now? And then like,
glad I didn't get hit by that train. Would have been another
I was supposed to be on a
myocarditis
30-minute lunch break.
You are the hero that we need here in Florida. I'm telling you, you could save the Sunrail.
Oh yeah, homeless people left and right are always getting beamed by that thing.
They tend to just walk in front of it, and if you want to spare your time, this would be a worthy cause.
It's tricky because, like, if someone decides to step in front of a really fast-moving train, you can't save someone from that. You know?
So just like you can't save someone from getting a blow by being a football player in the sport of football that's been going on for about 70 years of consistent, highly televised events. And this is the first time in the history that we have seen them cause a delay of game to the point where they pause a game and run medical attention onto the field instead of taking the person off of the field to begin with. 9 minutes of a blow directly. You know where the upper chest, a football player, you know the general equipment that a football player uses? Like, their uniform is one part that everybody recognizes. But do you know the rest?
Absolutely not.
No, I'm not familiar with it.
So it goes skull, because they got their head, right? And they have a helmet that's designed to fit on their head. They have most of them. Some of them don't like wearing it, but they're tooth brace. And then they have chin guards to keep it strapped so it doesn't wrench off of their head or whip or hit the back of it. Notice the helmet's designed to be over the neck so it doesn't just snap their fucking neck if they get hit. Like, a lot of the design in the football and keeping it light is beautiful, but they also have chest armor. And the chest armor is very interesting because I'm going to tell you, as a veteran of the United States military, chest armor is fucking amazing. It's designed to work exactly what it's trying to do. And in this circumstance, you can see this is an example of what they're talking about right now. Cordis, what is it? Commotio Cordis? This thing. Commotio Cordis. Which is, I want to say it's Latin for freezing heart.
By getting pummeled in the chest?
Right. The idea is that they get hit in the chest and it sets the heart to have an arrhythmia. And if the heart has an arrhythmia, you could not pump blood. And if you're not pumping blood, you just flop over like a fish. And yet, this is the first time that it's happened. So to me, it's kind of a rare and suddenly, but what's the thing that's changed? And that's what's not being addressed. As we've been saying before, rare and suddenly is no longer rare and suddenly. Rare and suddenly is popping up everywhere. You know, Kanye West rare and suddenly disappeared. That was an interesting 2022 thing. He was all in the media, put a mask on his face, and suddenly disappeared off of the block. Southwest Airlines shuts down their entire airplane industry because they want to force dock workers, people who set the plane up, to work in freezing temperature in one of the most abnormal chill waves we've ever had in a hot minute in America. And they don't want to work on Christmas. So,
when you're, in your opinion, then what was the factor?
Everybody's lying flat for justice.
You said it's been 70 years since something like this has happened in the NFL, where some guy got hit in the chest. Maybe his heart was inflamed.
Myocarditis,
just a little bit.
I would be interested to see if because myocarditis is this rare inflamed heart condition, which is rare and suddenly sprouting everywhere.
Rare.
And
it's so rare that everyone gets it. You get some myo, and you get some myo.
Yeah, but there's going to be certain groups of people who are more prone to it. Like, as an example, if you're doing a high-impact sport week to week, is that not going to be something that maybe... I mean, do these players, when they go out to the pitch every single day or every single week or however often they play, Are they getting like a full medical to go? Yep. And what is a full medical? Because if someone's like takes a hit like 6 months ago, and then they keep playing that, and then keep playing that, and then it's like fucking stack of cards. If you just touch it in the right way, you just keel over on the fucking field.
That's the assumption of weakness that we have now in what we consider to be our strength, is that everybody's weak and will collapse it with 1 or 2 hits. That doesn't make any sense. These are trained athletes who are specifically selected for athletic excellence, who have gone through a stringent process of medical screening to get to the point. And there's so many injuries that happen along the high school, college to professional pipeline, not even counting how many scouted agents or time in the minor leagues in order to get your name recognized that you have to do in the first place, that you have to do. This is something that's been going on for generations to cultivate physical excellence in
you pay
bodies.
somebody
and
millions
now,
of dollars. You want to protect that investment,
right? It's an investment. You're training excellence, and you're also training their image that you're selling for product placement.
But that's
speaking of product placement. Did you see when the ambulance did actually, after they picked up Hamlin, what they did is they popped it up on the CBS Sport update image. Would you like to see that CBS Sport update image?
Please. As long as it's not too grim.
Okay. I can't promise no grim, because this thing's going to kick you right in the shin.
I want all the grim and shins.
Oh, go on.
Brought to you by...
Is it Pfizer? Is it Pfizer?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
A part of the CBS update for their unmarked, no branded ambulance that disappeared and went to where did Hamlin ended up? One of the hospitals, because I know this uncle came out and said he lost consciousness twice, and then was like, no, I was confused, it was once. But either way, you become a vegetable after a certain period of time of no oxygen to the brain. They didn't defibrillate.
How much time is that? What do you got?
15 minutes is pretty rough.
Yeah. According to the movie Flatlines. Sorry, I don't actually know how long it was in Flatlines.
That's just science, bro.
Well, the thing is, again, it's generals because we have extreme examples of humanity, but I've never been one of those. If you take a swimmer or a boxer, they're going to have a larger tank of oxygen and familiarity to brain injuries.
Yeah, you can't compare it to someone like, let's say, David Blaine. No one knows David Blaine. Locks himself in a cube of ice.
Compare it to Drake.
Yeah, bullshit magician.
Bullshit magician. Oh, buddy.
All magicians are bullshit. I'm sorry.
No, it's called sleight of hand. Magic isn't real, but it's sleight of hand.
What are you about to say? No, it's not. It's magic.
The internet is fake. Nobody actually exists. We're all an illusion, and the system likes to distract.
You know, people keep telling me I'm an illusion.
I can't respond right now. You're talking to the hologram of Karoshi.
Oh, is that right? When are you going to produce on stage? Because Usher, I see, will be next after they do Tupac.
Wait, what are they going to do to Usher?
Oh, I just imagine that what we're going to see is one day they're going to replace people like Hamlin and football with computer holograms so that there is no injuries and we become ever more gelatinous gel people with no spines.
Okay. Here's a question.
Well, we did that with... Yeah, go.
Here's a question. R. Kelly, still alive. Terrible human being. Got tons of fucking bangers. If R. Kelly got none of the money, would you go see a holographic R. Kelly?
Only if they added a hologram piss fountain.
Thank you. That's what I was hoping you were going to say.
Yeah, there has to be some, you know what? And sponsored by like one of those the Indian piss doctors who believe that if you drink piss, you will rejuvenate your entire body. Because then we can pull full
like
circle.
Sunny D? That's piss, right?
Yeah, but call it Sunny P.
Oh, that would have made those commercials from our childhood a lot different if they were just. I mean, they don't even take it out of a bottle. They just drop.
Whoa!
No, I mean, just imagine if they were dropping trout just in each other's mouths.
Do you want some water, some milk, some of this purple stuff?
Pee me, baby.
I want some of that hot piss.
Okay, you say that, and yet America's chocolate has the chemical component of human vomit as a preservative.
Yeah,
and we're trained.
That's because you guys couldn't figure it out.
We're trained from birth. No, we did it because manufacturing and the product lasts longer. So they're like, it tastes like vomit. Who gives a fuck? They'll love it when they're kids.
What is this exactly?
Okay,
what is this?
Hershey's
what is this vomit?
Tastes like vomit, and there's a reason why it tastes like vomit. Because in the production process, they do something to it which basically sours it and makes it taste vile. And then they added sugars, and eventually they tricked the American people into thinking that was chocolate. It's not. It's vomit with extra steps. Like European chocolate, fucking magnificent.
It's phenomenal.
The way they make it is. I'll send you a documentary. In fact, I'll pop it in the YouTube as well, so other people can find it.
Do that.
Do that, man.
That's very. You know, my aunt is in Germany. She sends me chocolate every year for Christmas, and it tastes. I'm assuming it tastes good. I don't eat candy. Should I try it? Is that what real chocolate's supposed to taste like?
You would change your opinion on candy. American candy is pathetic. We've been blindsided by bullshit. And
I don't know. You ever had a full pack of nerds?
It's why I can't eat those gummy bears or anything. It repulses me. I got foreign chocolate that doesn't taste like vomit.
I don't understand that vomit comment at all. I think it tastes just fine. What's wrong with the Hershey's with almonds in it?
Hershey's vomit? Okay. Just be honest with the ingredients then. That's the problem when you start branding something as a lie. Like calling an Impossible Burger a burger didn't end up playing out for Burger King. McDonald's is pulling off all of their vegetable options of their fake meat off the menu because it's not selling. So I don't think they do
salads anymore either, right?
I mean, they could toss your salad in the back.
Salads.
Maybe over there in the UK.
I'm in the UK. It's a very different thing. We've got, in fact, in my old town, there is the largest drive-through drive-through McDonald's within the United Kingdom is in my opposite my home, in my hometown, pretty much.
What does that mean? Largest drive-through? Like there's multiple lanes?
Multiple lanes and the size of the building and how many people can actually be housed within the McDonald's. It's effectively the largest McDonald's in the United Kingdom. Oh man,
no shit.
It to be fair, to look at it doesn't look that big. McDonald's generally aren't that big.
There's nothing.
I mean, here they're pretty big. They got big doors on them too, so all the fat fucks can waddle their way in there.
Yep.
Oh, and you know what? I wouldn't be so fucking critical about the Rare and Suddenly thing if they weren't such a corporate bunch of cocksuckers sucking themselves off on how they're covering, how they handled taking care of the athlete. That's the thing. If you're going to treat him like a disposable product, I get it. You're milking him for his image, branding him, and training him to produce results. But don't suck your own dick and tell me that you did a great job by that, because the NFL executives are praising medical response following his injury, praising the amount of time it took, which was abysmal.
But isn't that to avoid liability?
But see, that's
no, we did everything we could.
Isn't that really part of the problem? What you're saying? You're saying that we've accepted levels of bullshit lies because it's convenient for legal liability. Then who's the villain here? The victim is truth.
I'm the poor lad that's lying in a hospital bed that may not wake up.
That too. I'm just curious on to why, with so many athletes dropping dead out on the field or playing tennis or swimming and whatnot, they only get little blurbs, on the news. From what I see scrolling through Reddit or Facebook or all these different social media, but this one is in the limelight, it's getting so much attention? Is it because he started a Toys for Tots drive and got a bunch of money? Like, for what reason?
You have
Probably
to
a
remember
multitude
that
of things.
America loves football.
There have been other football players that have collapsed.
There's a difference from that. This was a live game where what people saw was so mild. I mean, if you've been watching football, I've seen brain injuries happen that have completely restructured how people are allowed to hit each other on the field, you know? And that was blasted over on the nightly news. But for whatever reason now, what we're told is respect the wishes to not show the recording of the video, but at the same time, this has never been a thing. They're hiding something. And the more that it's the Streisand effect. The more that you point away from it, the more you point out how abnormal it is. We watched how hard he was hit. 20, 30 miles an hour at best on dispersed armament with a trained person who got through college, got through high school, and played the game professionally, and you're gonna like sell us the fucking bullshit that he's no stronger than a noodle boy who's 15 years old?
I think you're insinuating something here. You're insinuating.
Let's say, I've got a theory. Okay, let's say he got through all the training, got signed up to this multi-million contract, and then had this. And then they found out about it. Or maybe he's had some kind of accident. And then they found out about it, and then they've gone, okay, we've sunk X amount of money into this guy. Let's just let it roll. I mean, it's just I'm just pulling it.
Are you saying that they're letting him bow out by giving him a sob story? Kind of like how in the Olympics, the girl had a mental breakdown and everybody said she was stunning and brave?
I'm thinking of more like of an evil financial way of going, hang on a second. I've managed to I'm this guy's representative. And I've found him and I've sourced him and I've got him planted into this team and I've got a massive cut. And every time he gets paid, I get a massive cut. And then I find out that like through his training, while he's like in this team, he's passed the training, he's playing football matches and he's getting paid. He has had some kind of accident, or we've located a medical issue. Okay. Do we, might even be the football team, do we let this kid just keep playing through it? Because we've already sunk X amount of millions into it. We need to get a bit more out
all
of this.
right. I see what you're saying. I have a further addendum. Like, we're just going to ride this because Canada last year when we covered the medical assistance in dying that they're calling the MAID system for assisted suicide if you have mental problems starting in March 2023, or right now if you have a debilitating condition. What if, hypothetically, you're right? This is a way for them to expose a rare condition, which is true. This condition does exist. It has been observed in the past. It's rare and suddenly. But because it's rare and suddenly, they can now claim it on their insurance to get a payout. Let's keep it simple.
On the insurance that what?
Yeah,
he was hit in the chest.
Every single. I mean, if you want to get a payout, right, you have to have an extenuating circumstance. So they're just giving him a plausible reason to get retired. Hopefully, the lad runs through. But we're not the architects of this. All we can do is observe the evil wizard, football wizard, who cast the spell on him, and he went to sleep, and hopefully he gets his Princess Charming. Yeah.
I have a question. The position that he plays, is it one that takes a lot of impacts? Because I know there's like other positions
you're trying
that
to say,
don't take as many impacts.
Boxer syndrome?
Could be.
You know, is he punch drunk, getting hit a lot?
I mean,
that's a good question.
Like, if you play a particular position and you're constantly taking hits on your right side, left side, whatever, it's gonna have its wear and tear. Because like I don't know about American football, but I do know that there's certain footballers that will always play on the left, center forward. You know, forward right, forward left. You know, whatever. You know, they play specific positions. because whether they're right-footed, left-footed, they're used to playing that side, they're good at playing against a particular person on that side, they will put those people in those positions. So I'm just wondering whether he himself, if he's in one particular position, he's going to take hits on one particular side constantly.
He's what's considered a safety. I'm not sure exactly what that means. But
I mean, he was named
just
first team All-State
2021.
class.
Safe, was he? Fuck.
He's a defensive player for sure. He definitely, but he'd be used to getting and transferring those blows. See, even that blow that he transferred, he took the energy and rotated on his shoulder to not land on underneath. He did this. If it is to be believed, what you have to understand is if it was to be believed that he suffered from this medical condition that they're talking about, he would have immediately shut off.
It is weird that, well, I don't know enough about it, but it's interesting that he'd stand up. But I know I've been sucker punched and knocked to the floor before and lost my breath. And then, you know, when you've been sucker punched in the stomach and you're like trying to fight for your breath.
Condition.
I've been able to stand up from that. I've also been knocked out and stood up while still not knocked out, but like where you like stand up and you're like, oh, you don't know where you are. I've done that before, but I don't know the specifics in regard to what they're saying he may have and what and whether he would be out cold or whether it would be a case of
the total amount of tackles
delayed.
that he has done officially is 93 tackles
on TV. Well, in games.
Right. Career NFL statistics.
Okay.
As of week 16 of 2022. 93.
And that's not including all the practices.
Right, but again, that's
like
that's reaching. What I'm trying to say is this is such a, like, if you scope into his specific condition, he's a defensive player. They do routine checkups on it. This rare condition where he just took a blow through the equipment would say that every single layer failed to get to this and either needs a complete renovation of the system that allowed it to enable, or we're avoiding the actual fucking thing of all these athletes collapsing on the field suddenly after their hearts start pumping, just like in the UK where runners are filling up the ERs because their hearts are pumping and there's a lot of rare and suddenly. There's just too much deflection and not enough statements.
Yeah.
Agreed.
We'll never get the correct.
For 70 years, this doesn't happen.
And then
all of a sudden, when was the match? When did this happen?
A few days ago.
A couple days ago.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's probably we're not going to hear anything for, unless he passes away. We're probably not going to hear anything for.
Even if he passed away on the field, we would not know he's dead until a significant period of time has passed, because they cannot afford to have a player die on the field and then get the game of football associated with easy deaths, because that's what happened before. And again, this loses money. They want money. They want money. Yep. It's so delicious and green. They want to go. It's their favorite chopped vegetable, okay? They want the lettuce. They don't want anything else. That's why it's a shell game. They're not going to pop on the news media and say, we didn't do a good job. We're not going to go on and say, well, he slipped all the way in. What they're going to say is, we handled the situation to the best of our ability, and they're going to deflect, lie, and pay off anybody they have to make sure that no sponsor takes a hit. That's what's going to actually happen, like every single other athlete that has a problem. Rare and suddenly or not, we're never going to get a straight answer as long as they continue the voice of authority that is allowed to say whatever they want at any time that they want with no repercussions, only a slight byline change 3 months down the line.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that's fair what you're saying, and I think that's a fairly accurate representation of that, because it would. The amount of media that's on it, it has shaken up the game for sure. And it's going to be a point now where independent media outlets are going, okay, are we protecting them enough? Do we do this? Do we do that?
Do we need
what extra protection can we put in place?
Right,
because
modern
the protection they already have in place is like the highest of technology, yada, yada, yada. And it's like, okay, so there's no more protection we can put in place. Well, should we be playing this game? So...
And again, what it boils down to is participation ribbons. What we've allowed is to be babied to the point where someone can't sign up to fight to the best of their physical ability. Like all men truly want to see if they're the strongest. At the core of their heart, it's a drive to see how far you can go and how high you can go. And you're telling me that no, bro. Because boo-boos happen, we got to stop.
Yeah. And there's so
they won't stop. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. They're not going to stop it. You kidding me? Just because some guy collapses on the field?
But enough people have to collapse. It's like the TBIs that used to happen before when they would have all of those fucked up athletes and boxers who'd go, and then they started realizing that, hey, repeated blows to the head are bad. Let's improve helmet technology and shit. Or, hey, if the guy can't look straight, maybe he shouldn't be a boxer anymore. He might bleed to his brain. We improve technology and our awareness of repetition, but what's the gain here when they're using a rare condition to explain it and then lying about it? Because they're never going to... We need the disclosure. The point of news media isn't just fucking endless noise. It's not just for the system to state the illusion spell that people must be hypnotized with. Like declarative magic theory states that in order to cast a spell, they have to tell you once exactly what they're doing, and then they can lie. But they've not done that for this at all. It's just a big static. Just like it was a big static with the whole, all of these independent strikes that are happening along Americans' borders. You know, we have the train strike where Joe Biden, our president, says, well, you can't actually legally strike as a rail employee because I said so. You know, and then...
Didn't he just write that into existence?
He did.
He passed a law, right? He's like...
He passed something that said...
now you can't legally protest.
Yeah, you can't protest. You have to do what we say.
Didn't he vote for them to actually get a pay rise? Or was that...
That was just, you know how they do. They have a public image that they have to protect at all costs, so every deal is pending unless the ink is signed.
Well, wasn't it like mostly Republicans that were like... Well, that's one of the things is, wasn't it mostly Republicans that voted no, they will not get a pay rise? And then they turned around to Biden and went, well, everyone's voted no, but you can just turn around to do that. I was like, I could, but I don't want to... What was the wording he used? He's like, I don't want to like void the process. And I was like, you can literally do this. You believe in your heart of heart, or you say you believe in your heart and hearts.
There's not enough Yu-Gi-Oh watching. You didn't believe in the heart of cards.
Yeah, he just wouldn't overturn it. And it's like,
But again, what we're saying is it's okay for them to enslave workers. You can't stop working. Southwest Airlines, you can't stop working on Christmas in the cold because we have flights to push through. It's the holiday season. We have so much money and we got lettuce to stack. Get working, peons. And what they're finding out is the disparity of pay that's happened generationally, where our productivity, where we have cell phones now with emails, where people are, bills are constantly being sent or advertisements are being emailed. It's like a Pavlov's bell constantly ringing until we salivate, drooling at the thought of the next bit of information. And they've added that into working. You know, they'll text you your new schedule so that when you go to work, you know the schedule. But why are they texting you at 7 p.m. at nighttime when that would be a sit down time with family? It's because they don't have the sense of loyalty anymore. We don't pay people for the long term. We don't train them. We've exported training from businesses to fucking college. So you have to go into a debt-based system in order to succeed, to check the box, to fit criteria that's changing based on whatever tribe or skin color is popular that year. And now we have medical disabilities that are popular. We've got men who are playing as women competing against women who are playing as men.
Which I still think is so fucking wrong on so many levels. Like,
that's only fun to watch when it's MMA.
It is.
Know what I mean?
If they're walking in willingly,
like,
I'd love to see this as a competition of excellence. You know, showing self-defense for women that are going to succeed in breaking and getting away from a bad situation instead of believing that they are the literal human incarnation of Supergirl and their one mighty blow, like Black Widow, will send their opponents tackling, even though there's a 100-pound disparity that if it was a boxing match, we'd be laughing about.
Yeah. It's do not okay. So
I just passed that spell.
Do I think I can get beaten up by a girl? Yes, there are definitely women and girls out there that could kick 7 shades of shit out of me. Okay, I'm not
rare,
a big boy. I'm not a tough fighter.
Unlikely.
I have been. It's rare. No, I wouldn't even say it's that rare. Don't get me wrong. I've done MMA. I've done boxing. So I've sparred with girls and
bad bitches exist. Have been able to, flat.
Yeah. Word. But you can't tell me that a bloke, and I say a bloke, and I mean literally like a fucking brick shit house that's built, who is training for MMA and then goes, actually, I don't feel like I am a woman.
I'm the number 200 in all of MMA.
And then transitions.
Yeah.
And they're like built like no.
How is it that what was his name? Lance Armstrong got kicked out for being a one-testicled cancer survivor who was using testosterone supplements to give him the natural testosterone to build the muscle for his body so he'd continue competing in the sport, can get kicked off and all of his titles stripped. But someone who has had the advantage of more testosterone, who just decides to take a temporary break, can be the baddest bitch in the world.
It's a different time. It's a much different time.
It's a it is
he was
really
saying,
been
not on anything.
A startling realization that it's okay and encouraged as long as it makes money. And it makes money as long as it's being repeated. And it's being repeated as long as people consume it. As people consume it, as long as they can keep their base needs taken care of. Which is why we boiled down to Welcome to 2023, where everything's rare and suddenly, and yet, why are we here? What's going on in the world? Right now, what are you most paying attention to? I'm interested in the rise of rare and suddenly and physical excellence in sports, because to me, I like the concept of reaching to the greater of our possible human experience, no matter intellectually or physically or spiritually. Whatever direction that you choose to go in, go with excellence.
Rare and suddenly. I'm burying rare and suddenly, although not very rare and not very suddenly, I'm burying myself in fantasy books and stuff like that at the moment. Because you know what? The real world fucking sucks, and I'm kind of done with it. So that's what I'm up to right now. So,
well, when you pass away, what do you want to be buried? You want to be cremated or water-mated?
Oh shit!
Viking burial. Put me on a boat, set it on fire, push me out into the sea. There we go.
Have you heard?
Oh, I'm throwing the Molotov that lights that sucker on fire.
Do it.
Did you see this? So this is from last year, but these water cremations that they're doing to folks.
Wisconsin Senate
stick you in a chamber with all these
cremation
chemicals
for human use. Allows dead bodies to be dissolved with lye, poured in the sewer, and just right into our liquid spirit, man. And here's the thing. This is not just an isolated incident.
I feel like
no
amount of charcoal filters will be able to make me drink that water.
How fucked up is it that what we've done mentally, and I just have to say this mentally, if you're thinking about battlefields, right? What we've done is this field is covered in blood. Let's plant some crops. That's the mental association that I'm getting here. In order to enrich our soil, we're using humans because humans are the easiest and most plentiful thing for us to chop. We're becoming self-destructive.
Can't you
we're
do that
eating
with
our
like
own
ash? You can
body.
do that with ash.
Okay. I found it. You're
Ash is
talking
really
about
good for
water cremation, which
planting
is
stuff.
alkaline hydrolysis. Am I pronouncing that? Hydrolysis. Sorry, alkaline hydrolysis. Alkaline hydrolysis is a process which breaks down the body's tissue, leaving the person's bones, which are turned into a fine, very white ash.
Again, bone powder, which...
Bone powder.
Could you imagine snorting that?
No. Not even slightly, no.
All right, imagine the next time that we get coquina. What we do is we just cut it with human powdered bone.
Well, here's the thing. How much... Okay, here's a question. Legitimate question. How much would you have to smoke in order for it to permeate your bones into a very, like, literally permeate your marrow and your bones, and for you to basically have HTC within your bones?
What's HTC? It's an acronym or initialism. I just
fucking what the active thing in THC, not HTC. I had a moment. THC.
How much did you have to smoke for it to permeate your bones?
Yeah.
Shit. We should probably ask Snoop Dogg this one. I'm gonna send him an email.
For weed, I have heard there's something called where you smoke too much so you have a bad reaction to it, like an allergy develops. Kind of like a hydrostatic shock through the system where you have too much.
Then why have you been harassing me about it for months? So why have you been harassing me about that
because
for months?
Because it's all psychological in your case.
Yeah. Either way, I just can't handle it.
The truth of tripping isn't always will be that base mental state, that core of you matters. And how you go into it matters. Escapism, yeah, sure, you'll run away, but then you'll run away to run right back to reality. And when you land in reality, that motherfucker's harsh. And then your body has side effects for your neglect, especially if you neglect your body car for long periods of time. So, what we're seeing now is just a lot of neglect.
Well, shit. Out of the three of us, Tay Lon, you're getting smoked first.
I mean,
I'm going to start with your hair.
Are you... Hypothetically, I would say a year? No. It's got to be... We don't have long-term receptors. It even cycles through the system in a few months if you do tea breaks.
Yeah.
So it's not like heavy metals or ancient chemicals or parasites that sprout from lotus flowers to infect your brain.
So heavy metals are an actual thing, correct?
Microplastics are an actual thing.
How do you get them out of your body? Can you?
Fasting. And sea moss.
Fasting.
Fasting
and sea moss will get plastics out of your body.
Well, you got to push and pull.
What if there's plastics in the sea moss?
You've got to push and pull. First, you got to get your body in the receptive state, in the tuned state, to want to cleanse, because then your body starts using its resources. You know, going in and going, okay, what's this? Okay, what's this? Okay, what's this? And what it needs, it uses. What it doesn't need, it pushes. And that's why you'll have people who have like an outbreak on their skin that they can't recognize, but might be an underlying issue of things that they've been ignoring, like a nutrient, or they had a lot of heavy metals in their body and they're doing a detox.
Okay. Technically, you could grow your own sea moss. Apparently, there is a way to do it. It's not easy, but you can do it. So you could technically grow sea moss and then, like, make sure there were no plastics in it.
And yet, how would you guarantee the minerals, the trace minerals of the environment?
I mean, that would be, yeah, I mean, I suppose it's lab-grown sea moss, so you're not going to be getting the minerals in the environment, things like that.
There is a version of it, and can you guess where it comes from?
Sorry, you're both talking then. What was that?
I was
China.
curious if that was grown underwater.
Let's see. If you're interested in growing sea moss, this article will show you how. Yada yada yada. It grows. Sea moss grows from the bottom of the ocean. That's bullshit. And has been around since. No, it's not the bottom. I do not like this article. No, that is bullshit because it doesn't grow at the bottom of the ocean. Predominantly, it grows near.
That's right,
near
kids.
Near shores.
It grows in
that's
Iceland
No,
and
it's one of those.
Honduras.
It's being touted as a superfood, but they did that with. Remember when kale was all the rage?
That was the
Everyone
garbage
had to have
vegetable
kale.
that was the little fucking... It sat on the plate as a garnish, and they're like, yeah, kale. Welcome to the Italiano restaurant. Here's some kale on the side. Oh, cool. It looks nasty and tastes absolutely disgusting. And then suddenly, it got the avocado treatment, and now it's, what, $3 a pound?
Which is hilarious because it's like the easiest thing to grow especially in the UK.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah, you could grow that. I have some. I'll ship over some photos of this giant kale that I grew hydroponically. Thing was massive. It I had to get a saw to cut it down. The thing was thicker than my wrist. Hell yeah.
I love the idea.
Now there's
You
claims
say
that this
it's
stuff's
thicker
not even
than your
good
wrist,
for you
but
anymore.
you've got such girly fucking wrists, Mayo.
Yeah,
So that's
that's
can't
why I
imagine
bring one
you
out.
cutting anything.
No times. That's why I'm good at fisting, buddy. That's why I'm really good at
Fair
fisting.
Fair enough, dude. I'll take your word
Soon
for
we'll have your one man, one jar video complete.
Wait, take my word for it. You've never participated in that?
No,
it.
I've never
Fisting
been into
directly from you?
cupping.
No.
No, not my fifth. You won't be able to walk, but I'm saying just fisting in general. Have you ever been fisted or fisted?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. I was just
No,
curious.
that is
man.
actually legitimately not something I've partaken in. Not something I'd
No.
want to partake in.
Could you
Oh, man.
imagine if you were dating one of the Sesame Street voice actors and they do puppet
Jesus.
work and they're behind you and they just go to town and then start going, hey, today we're going to count how many balls you have.
As long as they lube up properly, I'm game.
Have you
Let's do it.
seen the video of Joe Pesci calling one of the Sesame Street characters a little fag?
You should.
No.
No, it
immediately.
exists and it's amazing. No, obviously this was not on screen, but Joe Pesci was on, and he was, and do you know what? I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna get it.
That's right.
Oh, please
folks.
do.
That's the kind
I
of
love Joe
quality
Pesci.
content that I want to hear. Have you heard about what is it, Pesci? What's the last thing Pesci's done?
Was it The Irishman on Netflix?
I
That
think he
3.5
did
hour movie?
I think he did an advert for something or other where he basically starred. It was like him watching Macaulay Culkin as an adult in Home Alone, and then he was like, "Oh, here's my part coming up," and that's the most recent thing I've seen him in.
I'm
I know I
always
just recently watched it
impressed
myself in Home Alone.
because I've been watching Tulsa King. I'm always impressed watching these actors go through the cycles of being in the limelight and then put to simmer in the back line, like Dave Chappelle. I mean, he bowed out peacefully a while back, right?
Yeah, but that was to keep his dignity, I suppose.
He stopped working on the Chappelle show.
Yeah. They kept telling him what they wanted him to do. And he said, no, thank you. And he dipped.
It makes me wonder.
That was a wild time.
Really and truly, kind of thinking about this internet and how people are corralled in from one cage to another in a digital imprisonment, a illusion spell that ensnares the senses through a rectangle, constantly sending squares filled with archaic symbols that are designed to capture the attention with color patterns. Like, have you ever thought about color psychology? How often people use yellow highlighted text to infest your mind? Like, any text that you put down on like just a poster that you highlight and bold in yellow will be absorbed as fact to the observer before they're conscious of it.
I never noticed that. Where is this yellow text at? I mean, I know there's black and yellow on the street signs here, but what yellow text are you talking about?
You ever look at like an Occupy poster? Like we're trained and conditioned from birth to receive information based on color psychology. For example, red is what?
Anger?
Right. But what does red signify when you're on the road?
Stop.
What does yellow signify?
Slow down.
No. Caution. Yellow signifies caution.
Oh, okay, touche.
Which means that if it's yellow, we've been trained in America to recognize that whatever's highlighted in yellow is caution. I mean, there's a reason that Fortnite had to pay $1 billion for a fucking color psychology lawsuit on children. Color psychology works, and it's so insidious. Really? Because, yeah. It's so insidious because of how it's just laid in. Oh, I don't have this
I've
link. I've
never heard of that.
Joe Pesci on Sesame Street. Plus that one in the disco.
It's already in the Discord.
I'm interested in watching this one.
It comes right at the end, but he makes mentions to it throughout the kind of outtakes.
All right, here we go.
I have a dentist, thank you very much. Oh. You know, I'm in a very dangerous position for you.
Depends on how you look at it.
That's true.
Without teeth, it might be a great position for me.
You're disgusting. You know that? I just want to tell you. Oh. I dare you to do that again. Oh.
Okay, you little fag, do what you really want to do.
Oh, yeah, I could tell. This is funny, so it's immediately never going to surface on an SNL or public television broadcast. Which is a shame, because there's been a lot of very memorable moments captured for humanity that will never be displayed. And yet, you remember that Idaho, what is it, that Idaho murderer who murdered those people? He's not a serial killer, he was a mass murderer. Was recently caught.
When he killed those 4 people on that college campus.
Well,
the dude
I have a question.
What's up?
What's the difference between a mass murderer and a serial killer?
Time.
Okay.
I think that, yeah, but this guy in Idaho was absolutely wild. It took him a while before they could, I mean, I'm surprised they got it done as quickly as they did, but it was a 3-storied building, and there were 6 people living there, and he just randomly went in through an entrance that put him on the 2nd floor, and he murdered the 2 occupants on the 2nd floor, went up to the 3rd floor, and murdered the 2 girls up there, and then he left. So when the roommates on the bottom floor woke up and went upstairs to their shared kitchen, there's just blood and, you know, bodies everywhere. Can you imagine surviving something like that just
Sure.
by chance?
Yeah.
That he never
I
just
can
decided to
completely
walk down there?
imagine that, man.
How did they catch him?
They caught him
That I don't
through-
know.
And get this. This is why I wanted to bring it up. Because we're talking about wild things. They caught him through public disclosure. 23andMe released to DNA testing. There was genetic testing that was done by one of those corporations that was used as the database, not from him, but from a male family member. Now, remember this, and what this is one of those little nuggets of wisdom that you'll never hear anywhere else. Women can use the DNA tests, and it will only reveal so much without the male DNA in it. They can't do a complete genealogy testing.
Interesting.
So I did not know that.
A male in his family got it close enough for them to figure out that, and then, you know, they're never going to publicly disclose that they have all of the DNA from everybody and that they've been violating the First Amendment by...
Isn't that how they caught the son of Sam?
What's that?
Isn't that how they caught the son of Sam? The guy from like
DNA?
the 70s, yeah, through 23andMe. Because they had theories of who it was, and they kept it on the down low. And then some rando, it was like his nephew or something like that, like randomly putting in a 23andMe, and they were like, "Boom, there we go. Okay, we've narrowed it down." And then they just kind of got the evidence together that they needed and did that. Or am I thinking of the wrong thing?
So we're catching murderers, but we're not catching the pedophiles in charge.
Wow.
Sam was arrested in 1977.
You know, Sam Bankman-Fried bounced with $250 million bail.
Who was it that they caught through that?
How did he, who apparently lost all of that money, have enough money for $250 million for the bail to begin with? I have questions, and also the reason that the detective who picked him up.
It was the Golden State Killer.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Joseph James D'Angelo, 72, former police officer, was arrested in 2018. And that was basically more than 3 decades later after the trail went cold. Basically, one of his, let me find the family member, but basically one of them did a 23andMe. So.
Jeez, man. This guy did 12 murders. Sorry, there's a little sneeze there. 12 murders, 45 rapes, 120 home burglaries between, 1970 and in the 80s. This guy was busy. I can't even find time to take a day to myself.
State.
Yes, jeez, man.
I mean, a police officer in the 70s, he had loads of fucking free time.
Wasn't he cooking spaghetti when they arrested him or something? I think he was, and he asked, "Well, can I finish my dinner or something like that?" He was totally unfazed when they came to his house. I remember this guy.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, they took DNA from a crime scene a year ago, compared it to other DNA samples from the Family History website, and that's how they busted him. No shit. Wow. So Sam Bankman, what, 250 million? He's got a nest egg, buddy. You want to talk about this SBF? The guy's got a nest egg. If you're trafficking millions and billions of dollars, you're going to put something to the side.
Especially for the government. I mean,
yeah, maybe the government put it to the side for him.
That we're being bullshit by both sides, and we can call the fact that the Uniparty only has its interest of its own power and perpetuation. The Patriot Act has been going on. Do you know the War of Terror ended last month officially? They declared the end on the War on Terror.
Oh, so I don't need to be terrified anymore.
No, all terror has stopped everywhere in the world right now.
Okay.
You have been informed here live.
So what's the new war then?
That's it.
Because
radicalized white people.
It was the war on drugs, right? And that worked out just fine. Says the country that has more land mass anywhere that has legal weed. And then they went on to do the war on terror, and now what's the new scare tactic?
Well, they've been using the World Economic Forum to tell people pretty precisely about what's going to happen next. It's almost a blueprint that's being printed out. But the reality is that we've gotten to the point of being comfortable enough where we look at the fact that, just to give you an example, vaccinated versus unvaccinated status was so contentious it almost became a sport in itself, where we're being led around by cult ideology and messages and symbolism that's being implanted in our brains, a constant background noise of news pundits and faces telling us that we must live a certain way and also take our HIV medication for 95% efficiency, because who the fuck is testing the other 5%? I don't know. Somebody's taking one for the team. As we're endlessly distracted,
not so contentious anymore.
Our leaders are either grossly incompetent or complicit. We have tales of pedophilia acceptance as our constant messaging of Epstein Island went into a locked court case once he hung himself, supposedly. And now we have another person in charge of a giant scandal, Sam Bankman-Fried, floating off into nowhere land, because once his bail's clear, unless he's locked to America, for what reason wouldn't you skedaddle? There's no incentive to be a martyr. In truth, there's no incentive for him to stand there and take the brunt of the hate of losing that much money. Unless people are so comfortable that they can lose large sums of money and just go, well, he tried his best, and, you know, I just believed so much that it was a great idea. And he's such a great guy. His smile's great. Have you seen his girlfriend? She's so beautiful. He must be doing something right. He's inspiring. That guy's worth bailing out for $250 million.
Him and his afro. Bail out his afro.
His afro was
separate. We call it an afro?
It was $50 million.
Or is that?
He could have took a haircut, but, you know. Who wants
where that guy gets his shampoo from? Because damn.
Dan Drift. That being said, I don't know what's going to happen with Hamlin. I do not know if they're going to dispel the spell or if the long period of time and the story that we're going to be told is going to be a message that ends up being something that doesn't smell like bullshit. More things
give it a week, man.
Smelling.
It'll disappear.
Right? I mean, talk about
like
things
Karoshi
that
said.
disappear. Have you even heard about the JP Morgan pressuring for Virgin Islands Attorney General loses her job days after suing JP Morgan on how they handled the Epstein case?
Oh, yeah. Look at that. And you're fired.
Yeah,
Nothing to see here.
It's just, it's bullshit. We're getting endless bullshit, and the lies aren't distracting enough, right? NASA may have nobody cares about the moon if we're more focused on the bullshit that's happening overseas, seeing the horrors of live warfare recorded with drone footage now, because that's not psychotic, you know?
Damn, they should make that live all the time. A whole channel.
Right.
Just mount a bunch of cameras on these soldiers' heads.
Just training on the horror and dehumanizing the observer at the point where what's sacred if all we care about is what we consume as a brand next? Subscribe to Gods and Prophets podcast.
Yeah, do it.
Indeed.
Smash that like button.
Make sure that
it's going to be an interesting year, man. We're going to have, in another week, we're going to have something more wild and stupid to talk about, because this has just been...
I feel like this is a soft lob of things that we've skipped to kind of point out how Rare and Suddenly is now the new brand, right? They can't get the clicks from racist anymore, or sexist, or #MeToo. So they're moving the Overton window to whatever else they can push. You know, these blackouts that are happening everywhere, right? That are being quietly pushed under the rugs. When is that going to tie together to just happening all at once and we're shut off from power? And then we look around and have to see that we're not just animals trapped in cages. We have to learn how to interact as a larger, greater society. As the root of civilization is unity between family members who want to survive and thrive in an ever-maddening world. Because I'm telling truth.
Mark Santana.
Mark Karoshi.
And this has been Gods and Prophets number 64.